Hi everybody, welcome to Shivers. Today is the 2-year anniversary of Shivers podcast, so we're doing a little bit of a rebrand, and instead of Wicked Wednesday, this will now be called Shivers Speaks. So you'll be seeing a whole lot more of me rather than just listening to my voice every week. But for today, for being the anniversary, I really want to get back to basics and kind of go over why we're doing this from the start. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Gina. I am a big fan of horror, big fan of Halloween, big fan of hard rock music, and also a big fan of spirituality. And I have kind of grown up knowing that these things can all be friends with each other. So when I went to college, I went to Temple in Philadelphia and didn't have the best of time. But before that, I was never really a fan of scary movies at all. I always liked Halloween. I always liked hard rock music. You know, even this poster behind me is from My Chemical Romance. And I always thought that scary movies and haunted houses were just scary. I was terrified. We had a small haunted house where we grew up in the amusement park of Knoebels. And I would get so scared of this haunted house, so scared that my brother named me Shakes. And I think it was just one time going through that haunted house and actually keeping my eyes open where I was like, you know what, this is real. Like this is all fake. This is all art. This is all for fun. Nothing in here can hurt me. And like, let's look at it from a different perspective. So after that, I started really getting into horror movies and liking all of those types of things and really seeing fear as a benefiter. So when I went to college, I was more in the fandom. Myself and my boyfriend at the time were really very big fans of The Walking Dead, so would go to all the Walking Dead conventions, and that sense of community and that collective that I saw at the conventions and was a part of was something that really, really spoke to me. And it was like, you know what, there is a big community of people who like this same sort of stuff, who feel good about this same sort of stuff, and I really want to tap into that. I really want to be a part of that. So I spent pretty much the rest of my college studying how fear could be good for you and beneficial for you, and even kind of went as far as looking at how fear impacts the psyche and how horror can be a benefiter. There is this one study where a group of Army veterans participate in this study. They watch a horror movie for 90 minutes and all of their levels are taken. So the entire movie, they're being studied, being watched. And in those 90 minutes, their levels of anxiety, their levels of PTSD, everything that would be triggered on a regular day-to-day basis was so much lower during those 90 minutes than it was for the whole rest of the day. And they came out of that study saying it is beneficial to let out these emotions in an environment where you know that you're inherently safe. You are not going to be chased down the hallway. You're not going to be in trouble. Like, you are safe. You're just watching a movie. You're just listening to a story. And that study alone really spoke to me. And so I started Shivers and started my ploy to kind of get Shivers out there of understanding the people who are skeptics and of ghosts and the people who are skeptics of horror movies. Why don't you like these things? What bothers you about these things? What triggers you about these things? And understanding where those things kind of come from. Is it upbringing? Is it personal perspective? Is it religion? What is it? And it's been very interesting over the years to talk to different people, to experience the different things. Now, from the spiritual side, I do a whole presentation on history of horror and ties to spirituality, but from the 50 perspective of it, it's really understanding that a lot of things in spirituality are related to death and appreciating life because death is inevitable. You even have the saying of memento mori. You hear that saying a lot in hard rock music. There's a reason why all these things are tied together. So when it comes to spirituality, having an appreciation for death and the ghostness of it, a lot of the folklore and the pagan practices from the past all dive into a lot of like the horror stories that we know. You even think about Midsummer, you think about The Wicker Man, you think about different types of folklore specific horror movies, and that's all rooted from spirituality, from paganism, from Wiccans, from anything like that. And it's very closely related, which is very funny because people on the horror side most times don't want to talk about spirituality. People from the spiritual side don't want to talk about horror. And yet you have this very close-knit middle ground. So that's really what Shivers is all about. It is connecting the spiritual side of things with the love for horror, with the love for hard rock, with the appreciation just for art and opinions in general. So yeah, I mean, in terms of what I like and what I believe, I think that horror is very beneficial to you. Being afraid of everything for so long for myself, I know that I have pushed myself outside my comfort zone just in life and being at school in Philly. And the way that I was able to get past my own fears of horror movies is just sort of exposure therapy and watching them. And now I like the gory movies. Now I like the movies that are not just lighthearted, colorful horror movies for the sake of the art of it, although I do appreciate those. So I really do think that there's something for everybody. I think whether you're open to spirits, whether you're open to tarot as a practice as well, and whether you're open to ghosts and just kind of trying something new, that's what Shivers is all about. So I then did write a book last year called Burn Her Down, and it is a fictional horror story. It ties in my sort of disdain for religion in general, so that is a little bit of opinionated base in there, but also just about owning the dark feminine and how to kind of put women at the front of the story with different perspectives in mind. So it is an interesting, I mean, selfishly, it's my favorite story, but it is an interesting way to combine storytelling with everything that we're talking about as well. So I have a meetup page as well. Shivers has a meetup page, and we do a whole lot of events in the Triangle area of North Carolina, as well as Pennsylvania. My family's all still in Pennsylvania, so go up there quite a bit and do some fun stuff. But it is also halfway to Halloween, so please check out the meetup page. We're always welcome to attend events virtually, no matter where you live, no matter what time zone you're in. And if you're interested, we are also doing a retreat, our very first retreat, at the end of August to Charleston. So there's going to be a Comic-Con there. We'll go to the Comic-Con, and we'll also do some spooky stuff around Charleston. So check out that meetup page. It's under Shivers Haunted. Everything is under Shivers Haunted. You can't miss it. And thank you again for joining me on this journey.